strong in our chest. Forever we're tied to the best in the West. Oh, the voices come together, a podcast so fine, telling tales of yesterday, crossing every line, with a jazzy kind of rhythm and a spark in their quest. It's the best in the West, we must confess. We must confess. Normandy's echoes beat strong in our chest. Forever we're tied to the best in the West.
Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. And hey, welcome back to 2026, our first episode of the new year. There we go. Hold on, let me trigger it again. Welcome to a brand new episode, season 2 of the NCS Best in the West podcast. There we go. We got it going on. Hopefully your new year has started off with a bang. And by bang, I mean a good bang. Hopefully negative things have not entered and you are still working on your New Year's resolutions. If you have one of those things. I don't really have one, but I just want to be a different and a newer version of me. What about you? Drop it in the comments if you're watching right now. If you have a resolution or, because they say the first few days of a fitness gym, workout place is full of folks. It's full of folks trying to get their new bodies. Is that you? Is that you? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. But we're so happy that you're here. Tonight we have a wonderful, wonderful young person who attended NCS way back in the day. I know some of her people. She was already gone when I was here. I left in 1980, and I think she finished in 1990, maybe 2000. I don't know. We're going to find out in a second. But let me read this bio real quick. Okay, hold on. I was just about to read the bio, and someone is knocking on my door. So he gonna have to wait because we in the middle of a broadcast, okay? Anyway, let me get to this intro. Today we're joined by an incredible NCS, Normandy Christian School alum, LeConte Dill, class of 1990. There you go. She's joining us remotely. LeConte attended NCS from 1983 to 1990, and her story is filled with leadership, legacy, and excellence. She went on to attend the Chadwick School, earned her degree from Spelman College, completed her Master of Public Health at UCLA, talking about the 4 claps, and earned her Doctor of Public Health from UC Berkeley. Definitely a Cali person, except for, when she went down south to go hang out at Spelman. Today, she's an associate professor and director of graduate studies at Michigan State University in the Department of African American and African Studies. You got to put that on there. That's very, very important. Today, we're going to walk down memory lane. She's going to talk about cheerleading and performances like The Wiz being the Wicked Witch of the West. We're going to talk about her friendships, family, legacy, and how NCS has helped shape who she is today. So without further ado, we're going to welcome to the podcast, LeConte Dill. What's going on, young lady?
Hello. Good to be here.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go ahead and, I know we gave a wonderful intro. Do me a favor. Can you just tell the people a little bit more about yourself and who you are? And I'm going to work on something real quick. So the mic is yours. Go
Special
ahead.
guest. Hello, good evening. LeConte Dill, born and raised in South Central LA. I am far from home, but always repping. So South Central LA all day, no matter where I stay. I am a mommy, a wife, a daughter, a niece, a cousin, a friend, a poet, professor, playwright, dancer, a napper, and a
Wait,
proud UCS
hold on, hold on,
alum.
hold on.
You gotta run it back? Run it back?
No, no. Did you say a napper?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Not a
Rest,
rapper.
rest, not a rapper. Maybe sometimes, but
Someone who likes to take naps.
yes. Nap ministry.
Absolutely.
Rest
Absolutely.
as resistance.
I love naps. Naps. I have a friend of mine, Kelvin Krigler, who always talks about
Yes.
how he didn't like naps as a young person.
Yeah.
But, your boy is 56, and I love a good nap.
Kelvin loves coffee, so I hope he's still able to get his naps in.
Kelvin loves coffee, and he loves naps. Shout out to Kelvin Krigler. That's my dude. Okay.
And Christopher, my classmate,
Christopher. Okay. So,
and my co-star in The Wiz, but we're not there yet. So.
okay. So you kind of explained a little bit, told the folks a little bit about yourself. How are you braving the weather out there in Michigan?
I stay inside my warm house or my warm car. I stay with warm jackets, multiple. But yeah, a lot of staying inside. Michigan is good compared to some other places where I live that have snow. So the city and the municipalities prepare. So they're plowing the snow. They have the salt trucks out. Schools also sometimes cancel. But unlike Atlanta, that only maybe has one salt truck, and people even say it's not even a salt truck; it's a lemon pepper truck. Um, but Michigan is well prepared. So,
Okay.
and I'm very prepared inside with
Okay.
snacks and Netflix.
Now, how long have you been at Michigan State?
5 years.
Okay. So you're kind of accustomed to the cold weather. And so it's, not that big of a deal for you, correct?
Yeah, and I lived in New York before this, so Michigan is definitely colder, but used to, yeah.
Okay. So then this big storm, I know, like coming from California, it's big because I have two children in Texas, and my wife was making sure hey, you got everything just in case, and the kids were like, Mom, we got this. Leave us alone. We straight. Was that kind of how you were with this particular storm that they were talking about?
Yeah, because again, like I just know me, and I know, like I know that. So I described like my first winter here. You can pump the brakes, but it might not stop. So you need to pray, and your car might sea walk.
See,
So I don't want to slide, skid out. So I'm very slow on the road, and
okay,
I stay inside.
okay. See, I love all of these LA references.
I have to.
I
I
mean,
moved away. I moved away early, and I've moved a lot and come back. So it's definitely a landing place, a resting place. But it's in me.
yeah. Just and now it's funny because like the sea walk is like kind of like a big thing now. You see a lot of TikTok videos, and you see a lot of
Right.
folks talking about doing the sea walk dance, whatever. So now let me ask you, because I have a friend who actually did the sea walk at the nation's capital. Shout out to Uncle Al. Do you know how to sea walk?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, so not just with
At
the
baby
vehicle.
showers, weddings,
Okay,
classrooms.
okay. Put a little South Central on it, huh? Okay, so we do have someone in the comments here, and so this is I'm not too sure, but 7615. Okay, she says, yes,
Oh, that's my
synergy is my
cousin.
focus word for the year. Daily journaling goal for the month. Now,
Shout out to Ahize Lee, proud
okay,
also NCS alum. My
okay,
cousin, my soror, was
okay,
Ahize Ice Swan when she went to NCS.
okay. All right, and then now, did she also go to Spelman because she said yes, lemon pepper.
No, she lives in Atlanta. She's lived in Atlanta a long time,
Okay,
15 something, maybe more years.
okay,
So yeah, she is, like loves and reps and leads in Atlanta, but she
okay.
did not go to Spelman.
So she understands not the salt truck, but the
The lemon
lemon
pepper.
pepper
Yes.
truck. Got you. Okay. So let's go ahead and hop into this NCS, man. I'm so happy that you're connected. How does it feel to be kind of connected back with the NCS community? Now it's currently a preschool. Some of the grade levels are no longer there, but still,
Oh,
just how does it feel? I know. Oh, but how
only a
does it
preschool.
feel to be kind of connected back to the NCS community?
I've felt like a connection even when I haven't lived in LA, just from relationships or from it being down the street from my grandparents' house, um, just being on that corner of Normandy and Gage, but also with social media, even in the MySpace days, and finding people that I hadn't seen in decades, but definitely now with like the NCS groups, Facebook, Instagram, the Poppin Alumni Association. I'm sad that I often miss the reunions, but I definitely feel connected.
Absolutely. Okay. So I guess I'm about 10 years older, I believe, because you graduated or culminated, whatever, 1990. I was done in 1980. So what were some of your earliest memories from NCS?
I even remember my interview. So going into kindergarten, I remember my mom taking me and meeting Mr. Walker, the principal, and I remember like him asking about like my reading or my counting or my colors, and I think I jumped or some like a physical kind of. And I can see it clear as day. I remember the front desk and Miss Bolton. Miss Spencer was my kindergarten teacher. I remember kindergarten very, very fondly. Um, and I remember the first day of kindergarten. I remember a lot of kids were crying, and I remember I was not. I was ready. I was like, "Why are they crying? Let's go. It's time for school. Like, it's time. It's time to learn."
Right. Wow. Okay. So that's kind of crazy because, I'm one of the OG 53, right? And your boy didn't have to go through an interview. But you had to really, they were interviewing kids in 1983? Wow.
I remember it, and it primed us. I mean, I feel like they continue to bring that level of rigor throughout my time.
Yeah. See, I know I'm talking to an educator when they throw out that word rigor.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, so just in case you didn't know, I am also an educator here in Los Angeles. So, I'm right early childhood special educator. I have a multiple subject credential, special ed credential. Right now, I'm working as a restorative justice, restorative practice teacher at my
Oh,
school site. So, I'm out of the classroom for my second year in a row, but it's a wonderful opportunity. So I just have to laugh when I hear the word rigor, especially, back then
you were not.
we weren't really, using the word rigor, but rigor,
They
I'm
were
sure
doing
was
the
still there.
practices.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now let me, for those of you who are online listening, I just want to make sure that her sound is where it needs to be and you can hear her fine. So just let me know, put some comments. We're live on YouTube only. We did drop the link in Facebook. And so if you want to come over from the NCS page and come on over to YouTube, but I just want to make sure her sound is great. And I have her not so loud in my ears, but I want to make sure that you guys are making sure, I want to make sure that you're hearing all this goodness that LeConte is going to be putting out. Okay, so two or three words for you to describe your NCS experience back in the early days.
Fun, family, recess.
Oh, loud and clear. Okay, cool. All right.
Reading. Can I use four? I'm doing four words. Fun, family, recess, reading.
Okay. Okay. What is something that you remember reading at NCS?
I did say reading. I remember like being like reading comprehension, so not necessarily like one specific text, but I remember that we were really well trained on like comprehending what we were
Okay.
reading, and I knew that like even in middle school, folks were amazed on like how well we we did reading comprehension.
Yeah, I think back
I
in the day
remember the
we.
books that, like, and through the years, the books were handed down, and so you could see the older classmen's notes or their name in the front, and so I kind of remember that like legacy.
Yeah.
I remember how we used to like wrap our books with paper,
Yeah.
brown paper bags. Some people got fancy, but I remember wrapping books fondly.
Yeah, I kind of remember like the Dick and Jane kind of books, SRA back, I just remember using some of those resources that, now it's like, what? Where's the culturally relevant,
Well, I remember in Miss Parker's class, like Black History Month, maybe not just Black History Month. I remember like our coloring pages were
yeah,
like Lionel Richie and like Michael Jackson. I remember
really?
coloring like Jerry Curls.
Miss Parker, you had the kids coloring Jerry curls? Wow.
So I feel very culturally humble, very relevant,
Okay.
culturally sustaining.
That's funny. That's funny. Speaking of Michael Jackson, now I have a note here that you participated in some of the performances, namely in 1984 and 1985. You were in The Wiz and you played the Wicked Witch of the West. West Side. See, I got you. What was that like?
It was amazing. So Miss Spencer, I had Miss Spencer in first grade and Miss Parker in no, I had Miss Spencer in kindergarten and Miss Parker in first grade, and they both taught kindergarten and first grade. And so in kindergarten, they both collaborated to put on the Wiz, and it wasn't just at in the lovely chapel or even in the lunchroom. It was at Preservation Hall downtown. Is that what it's called?
Y'all got fancy after
Mom.
we left.
My mom will correct me if I'm Preservation Hall downtown. And it was huge. And the next we did it again. And then the next year they actually brought in agents from Hollywood. So it was a black talent agency, Al Fan in the 80s. And they came to the performance, and then the leads, we actually had time after the performance to meet with them like in their offices and do a little test. And then they gave us their lovely prices if you wanted to be part of their agency. And we were like, thank you very much. This was
Yeah.
nice. But it was a huge deal. Like to be, some of us have been exposed to the Wiz at home,
Yeah.
VHS tapes or when
Yes.
it come on TV, but then to put it on and like to have the soundtrack, to learning the songs, learning the lines, and I feel like we did it full out.
Yeah. So here's a fun fact from my years at NCS. So I believe The Wiz came out in 1978, 79. I remember our school going to the what's the name of it? It was the Big Round Theater in Hollywood, and like the whole school went, and it was like it was like cool because we got to like first of all, I mean you don't realize as a kid you missing class, right?
Right.
But you going to see like a top notch movie with
Yeah.
Michael and Diana, and now it's just like. Man, those memories, those were some good times. That was a super dope movie. Shout
Yeah.
out to the Wiz. Now, do you
We
remember
also
any?
around like We Are the World came out around that
Yeah,
same time, and I
yeah, yeah,
remember marching around the little playground, like the whole school singing the song on repeat.
Okay. Okay. No, those are definitely nostalgic times. Because of the people that we were listening to, the people who made the music and all that kind of good stuff. Do you remember any of your lines from The Wiz?
Yes.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna lean in.
Okay.
Uh oh.
So I remember I got the part because I screamed. I'm not going to scream right now.
Okay.
I don't want to wake my almost 6-year-old. But I
Yeah.
remember, see what you have done to me. I'm melting. I'm melting. I'm melting.
See. Okay. So the Jai will put that in the comments already.
My
So
auntie
that's your
Soror, who
auntie.
was in the audience back then, yes,
Okay. Which auntie?
Denise Sterling, so my mom's side,
Mom's side. Okay. All right. Cool. Shout out to I told her earlier
Dr. Denise Sterling.
before we went live, I know some of her fam, and so Josemie, I know her really well, and then I saw Beverly a couple of months ago up in Texas, so we kind of connected like that. All right, so the Wiz was super phenomenal for you. Let's kind of transition over to computer class. Now, back when I was there, we didn't have like a computer room. So, what do you remember about your computer class with Mr. Lovett?
Yep, Mr. Levet,
Lovett, yeah.
so at first the computer class was at his offices in Inglewood, like off Van Ness. And so only a select, I don't know how, but if you wanted to, or if your parents want you to, I remember we go on Saturdays. And then after that, like pilot year, then they created a computer room on the second floor. And
Mm.
I think everyone had access to computer classes. But I remember learning the early versions of programming and coding, and back then it was with the Apple IIc computer, but learning how to like make your banner with your name and on the matrix printer. And I definitely felt, and shout out to my mom, who's definitely listening, watching, who was, very ahead of the curve and was like, no, you need to be in this early iteration of where technology is going. So, and it was fun to go to like the Saturday program, but then by the time he came into the school, there were a group of us that were like, we already know Mr. Levet, we already know this computer language, this computer programming. And at the time, like I always wanted to be ahead of the class. So
Yeah. So it sounds like it was like a prerequisite to Black Girls Code, which is like a big thing now.
yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Shout out to Mr. Lovett. There you go. Having an Apple, because that was a big deal. With the
Yes.
dot matrix printer, that was a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, to this day, do you still use Apple products?
I don't.
Oh
I'm
man,
very much my
man,
auntie Stace.
I'm devastated. I wish I had a
Android.
word, 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 word. I'm gonna have to put that. Okay.
Thank you
All right.
everyone for bearing with me in my
Yeah, that's
dinosaur
all
way.
good. It's all good. There was always one in every family, right?
There is.
Okay, so you're that one. Um, okay, so moving right along, because I do want to get to you transitioning from to Chad with all that kind of good stuff. But let me ask you, because someone gave me a note about you being a hall monitor and you kind of liking that experience as a young person. Did you have to interview for that, or how was that experience as being a hall monitor?
I did not have to interview. I would not. Snitches get stitches. So I didn't. I'm not really like proud of that aspect of being a hall monitor. But I remember. I think what I liked about it is kind of like I was into like protecting folks
Mm.
that were like being bullied or like so people running up the stairs and roughhousing or pushing the shy kid. I would be ready and willing to write them up or intervene. We didn't have restorative justice then, so we could have
You
used some
writing
of
kids up?
the hall
What?
monitor.
Man, you traumatizing. Now, did you write any of your
Yes,
friends up?
some
Were you
people, even to this
equitable?
day, some people that were bullied remember me for like I was always sticking up for the bullies, the shy people, the like ostracized people.
Okay. Okay, so you have a soft heart for those
Yes.
kind of students in that category.
Yes.
Got you. Now, were those friends that were acting crazy? Were they your friends?
I feel like I was friends with most people. Like I'm kind
Okay.
of like different crews and crowds, but Normandy was definitely my goody goody two shoes
Okay.
era. I feel like I'm a recovering goody two shoes.
Ah, got. So
Proudly recovering.
you had a good goody two shoes foundation at Normandy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you still a goody two shoes right now?
I love to be free, to be a risk taker, to not stay in
Okay.
the boxes.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. You kind of see the other side a little bit, but not too far, right? Okay. All right. Let's transition over. Let's talk a little bit about family legacy and some of the community roots that you have there at Normandy. And because, like I said, I want to talk about cheerleading and friendships and all that kind of good stuff. But Thomas Dill Sr., now that's someone who you're related to. Now, how are you related to Thomas Dill Sr.?
That's my Papa Dill, may he rest in peace.
Absolutely. Now,
And
I
go ahead.
heard that he often picked you up. What do you
Mhm.
remember about him picking you up from Normandy?
So my grandparents lived literally 2 blocks down the street. So on 64th and Halldale. And my grandmother, he was already retired. I think by the time I started Normandy, my grandmother was working for my first few years. So he had the freedom or the time to come walk down and pick me up. And there was actually a crew of grandfathers or grandparents that, in addition to like parents or siblings that might be picking kids up, and they even began to like build community. I remember Angela Hunt's grandfather picked her up. I think he drove, but he picked her up. And so it was cool to walk home from school. I mean, to his house from school. Um, I didn't live with them, but I spent a lot of time at their house. And it was cool to like then see kids like driving down the street, like leaving school. So it felt very, again, like home. My aunts, as you said, who you know them, they went to Normandy Church of Christ, which is connected to
Right
the
there
school,
at the
literally
school.
physically and spiritually. And so there was already like our families had weddings and funerals and other events at the school before, during, and after my time there. So
Hmm.
it definitely has been like a home base.
Got you. Got you. And then also you had your grandmother, Dorothy Dill.
Mhm.
She helped. Now tell us about the work that she did with Normandy Christian School.
So one of her jobs, she worked, or her later job in her life before retirement was at LA Community College, and she actually placed elders, senior citizens in jobs, senior citizens who wanted to go back into the workforce or even volunteer positions. And I remember her one day saying, like, "Oh, I placed some of the foster grandparents at Normandy." And some of you know who are listening, but for others, we had a lovely program called Foster Grandparents where elders were like the teachers' aides. Elders were in the classroom with us, and some classes had one or two, or maybe even more. Um, and having that intergenerational connection, and even from a young person to going up to sixth grade, just having reminded you of home, like your
Hmm.
grandparents, your great grandparents, or your great aunt. And they were in the classroom, and we would also see them around the community in LA. And so my grandmother, I know, placed a couple of foster grandparents at NCS.
Got
So
it.
I thought that was cool.
Got it. Got it.
And
Okay.
then when sometimes if she got home early enough, she drove a caddy, a silver Cadillac. So I would love for her to pick me up because I would love to kind of show off Nana Deal Cadillac.
Show off in the caddy.
Yes.
That's what's up. Shout out to being picked up in a caddy. Every now and again, Dad, Dad had a caddy, and I would, he wouldn't pick me up, but he would. When he would pick me up, he had a caddy. I'd be like, okay, I'm riding comfortably.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
then it was cool because one day a couple of times when I was old enough to drive, he let me drive the caddy. It was like a
Okay.
caddy. So it was the boxy one. I think it was the Seville, the boxy. But yeah, I
Yeah,
was like, man, but those things could go too.
they could. They
They
could.
could go.
Yeah.
All right, man, taking me down memory lane. And then also, talking about legacies, where you talked about your grandparents and, aunts attending Normandy Church of Christ right there on the campus of NCS. You had other family members
Hmm.
that attend, other cousins, correct? How
Hmm.
does it feel
Hmm.
to have that kind of legacy within your family, and just to see that legacy kind of continue after you?
It was amazing. So I mentioned my cousin Ahize, who is watching, my cousin in Soror. She started there in third grade, which was the
Mm,
year right after when I was graduating or after I graduated. My cousin William came right after that, the next year, William Blackwell. His mom is watching. And later, my cousin Victor Jackson, who's Joseme's son,
yeah,
he came. And so it was great to always have, that was fully uniforms came in halfway through my tenure, but my cousins were definitely all uniformed era. But also to see, like, I knew some of their classmates were like the little kids when I was a bigger kid, and then to see them some still be in touch with some of those people.
yeah.
To hear by the time my cousin Victor went, I remember they had taken out paddling, swatting, which is a good thing to take it out. But
Mm.
he was like, yes, we got ridden up, or we got slips. And I'm like, slip? Like pink slips? What happened to the paddle? Like Big Bertha? Like
Big Bertha,
Miss
wow! Shout
Jackson
out to
named her
Big Bertha.
paddles.
Okay, but you said you were a goody two shoes. So did you
Okay,
get
so let me
did
talk
you
about
get
it.
hit by Big Bertha?
Because in Black solidarity, in Black institutions, there were times, like maybe once a year, when someone does bad, everybody gonna get it. The goody two shoes in the classroom did not like that because we didn't do anything. We were not. There were like some people that were like, "Oh, we got SWATs every week." It was like a once a year, and again, like you're tarnishing my legacy, my record.
Yes.
I'm a
Okay.
good girl. But then whenever I was like the whole class could literally get it.
Wow.
So
Now,
that happened.
now was that the name y'all called it, Big Bertha?
No, Miss Jackson named her own paddle.
And it was Big Bertha.
Yes.
Wow. Miss Jackson,
R.I.P.
you have traumatized these folks with
I had
Big
her twice, but good times, good times.
with Big Bertha. Man, but I understand because sometimes when rearing kids and it's like, okay, who spilled the milk, and nobody's like, not me, not me, not me. I was like, look, we don't have a kid named Not Me, so guess what? All of y'all gonna get? Y'all gonna get Mr. Well, I guess somebody I know had something called Mr. Black. I'm just somebody I know, and they use, and I'm like, hey, maybe not use Mr. Black. Use, just do some
A RJ
non-corporal
circle,
punishment.
a RJ circle.
You know, my friend back then didn't know what an RJ circle was. But yes, he probably would have used that had it been kind of widely known and created back then in the day. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna let's leave Big Bertha alone because we
Yes.
don't want to go ahead and invoke the childhood drama and trauma that might come up. Okay, so real quick, cheerleader. You were a cheerleader. How was that?
It was amazing. Shout out to Mrs. Bennett, Paula Bennett, who probably brought back cheerleading. So fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, my fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, I was a cheerleader. I was best all around cheerleader
Oh,
all
excuse me.
years. And my sixth grade year, I was the captain.
Jeez. Now, I'm sure your friends will probably say, or did they vote for you to be the best all around cheerleader on
Yeah,
campus?
some of my friends might be listening. Shout out to Latricia and Danielle, who are also cheerleaders with me.
Okay.
We created cheers together. We trapped Miss Bennett, had everybody in her car. I forgot what kind of car. It was like the Batman, a black
Mm,
car. And
hmm.
she would pick us up for practices in the summer. We would go to games all around LA, like mostly other Christian schools.
Okay.
She sold our uniforms like
Okay.
herself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So y'all were
And her
styling.
kids went to Normandy too.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you mentioned Danielle, Latricia
Danielle
Walker,
Brewster, Latricia Walker. Yep.
Danielle Brewster.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Angela Hunt.
Micheline Hooper is probably watching. Maisha Perkins is probably watching.
Okay. Good evening, Sharon Benjamin. Welcome
My
to
other auntie.
the NCS Best in the West podcast. I'm Mr. Riley. That is LeConte Dill. I'm sorry. Let's put some respect on her name. We're gonna
She's an
get to it.
NCS. She's an NCS mother.
Oh, hey, NCS mother. Dr. Dill.
Yes.
That's who she is, Dr. Dill. We're gonna get into that a little bit. Okay. So cheerleading and leadership and friendship. Now, are you still really close with some of those people that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so that's why some people are watching because we have a little group chat. Those people that I named were at my wedding after party. Whenever I'm in LA, we try to get together. Shout out to
Absolutely.
Micheline Hooper, who's lived in Michigan for a long, long time, probably half her life.
Yeah.
So when I came here, most people were like, "Wait, you're really moving to Michigan?" But it's cool to have. We don't get together as much as we both want to. We live about an hour and a half away from each other, but
Okay.
we get together maybe once a year, and so it's good to have another Cali person and an NCS person here.
Absolutely. That's what's up. That's what's up. And, shout out to the connections that we make, in our earlier years and still, you still have those friendships right now. So shout out to everyone who's watching, who still is connected to someone from their elementary, middle, and high school years. So that's super, super nice because you never know, when you're going to need a friend, especially if they're working on a college campus or in the doctor's office, or if they're the doctor, right? Or whatever the case might be. So super, super nice to
Another
make those
shout
kind of
out,
connections.
Maisha, my Perkins, who um, we've just stayed in touch over the years, but we both went to HBCU, so it was
Mhm.
cool to like have the NCS experience, then to have the HBCU experience. We're both poets and writers to have that experience. But
Okay.
then she's lived in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn for 20 something years. So I lived in Brooklyn for 8 years. But it was again great to come to a new place and have someone that's been there to welcome you and still have that hometown and that NCS-ness there.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so let's move away from NCS. Now, do you think NCS laid a wonderful foundation? All the teachers. Now, mention some of the teachers real quick before we
Yeah,
transition over to the Chadwick School.
sure.
Who are some of the teachers
So
that
Miss
you?
Spencer, Miss Parker, Miss Jackson, Miss Payne, Miss Rhodes, Miss Jackson, and Mrs. Prescott. R.I.P.
There you go. Shout out to Miss. So I was probably, you know what? This is my podcast right here. I'm gonna say it. I was probably Miss Prescott's favorite student. When she first
Uh-uh.
arrived. Wait, hold on.
Uh-uh.
Wait, wait a
First of
minute.
all, the chat's about to pop off because I know my cousin's gonna say she is, but a class of '90, valedictorian right here.
Look,
Miss Prescott's favorite.
look, we broke Miss Prescott in our first year.
Oh
I
wow!
was man, listen.
Wow!
Matter of fact, I was so influential that I met her or I've seen her, one of her daughters online or something recently. And they're like, hey, I remember you. You were in Miss. Like, yeah, see, it's influential right there. You said I was the best. You know what? I would say I probably Miss Prescott's top five.
But I loved our NCS teachers. Like, still remember us, the ones that are on Facebook. I Miss Spencer and Miss Prescott. When Miss
Yeah.
Spencer came to my high school graduation, Miss Prescott gave me a gift. So like even I feel like they wrote letters. So just that continuity, that them remembering, but them
Hmm.
also reminding us that they're here
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Absolutely. No, I always remember those wonderful teachers laid a wonderful foundation. And I'm glad to know that you share the same foundation
Hmm.
experience that I did when I was at NCS. And it talks about, that's consistency across the board, right?
Yeah.
So super, super dope. Okay. So after you left NCS,
Hmm.
oh Normandy, dear Normandy, we love you, blah, 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 blah. I forgot the song. After you after you left Normandy, you went to the Chadwick School.
Hmm.
Now, what was that like?
So I went there in part because of Normandy. So shout out to Normandy's Pipeline or Pathway program, their partnership with the Independent School Alliance for Minority Affairs,
Mm-hmm.
also known as the Alliance. So it's the LA homegrown version of A Better Chance. So recruiting kids from the hood to go to elite private prep independent schools.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, shout out to Deborah Sterling, started. So usually the alliance would come in and meet with the sixth grade parents in the fall
Okay.
of sixth grade year, and they did that usually at the CAPTAF, the PTA meetings. My mother started going when I was in third grade to those meetings.
Mm.
So it'd be all the sixth grade parents plus my mama, and then she went every year. She was taking notes, and so it was already set, like in third grade. Like, yeah, we might look at various options. I know I did apply to public school magnet programs, et cetera. But I was already primed for this independent school. And Normandy definitely had one, two, or three students going to independent schools a year during that era. And that process was even the process to apply. I talked about my interview at Normandy, but the interview for independent schools was like some colleges or grad schools interview you. So I was leaving school early in sixth grade, and some of my classmates were like, well, "Where are you going? Why are you leaving? Why weren't you here?" And I would be going taking tests, standardized tests, going on tours and visits, going to meet my mama, using the Thomas Guide to try to find out because these schools are in the elite parts of LA, like parts that we might know now, but
Yeah.
everybody wasn't going to Brentwood or
Yeah.
going to Palos Verdes or going to Pacific Palisades, and so these schools are literally behind gates that open in multi-million dollar homes. And so I definitely was ready, well prepared academically, but it was a different world, and not in the way we like to say a different world,
Mm.
not the TV
So it
show.
was a good experience for you then. It sounds like because mom was like, "Look, I'm gonna be ready for y'all when my baby comes up. She going to the Chadwick school. She going somewhere."
Yeah.
She was sitting in the
So I was
meetings.
definitely I was ready and prepared, but also it was definitely a culture shock.
Yeah.
So my classmates who might have two parents in the home, but only one parent worked. Like both parents didn't have to work. People had maids and butlers and limousines, and people had the Pacific Ocean was literally in their backyard. And people, I mean, I had my Mr. Levette class, but people had their own computer, and we're doing like math homework first day on computer. So, it's like socioeconomically, it was just different. But also, I'm just proud of my family and of an NCS and my friends that I came to South Central every day, every night. But also, I was thankful that I wasn't the black kid that goes to private school. I wasn't like coveting that lifestyle. I wasn't like, I don't know where I fit in, or I'm embarrassed to be from the hood. I was always proud to
Mm.
be from where I'm from and to come back home at night. And so I guess I had the best of both worlds, but that other world was wild.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. I mean, your boy, I think in sixth grade. So, not I didn't go to private school, but I left from NCS, went out, it was bussed out to the valley.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it was a thing.
it was a culture shock because
Yeah,
in my class it was like 12 of us.
yeah.
NCS was small, and you go out there to the valley, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? So I get the
But
culture
shout
shock.
out to the Alliance because not only do they prepare us for like the standardized tests and the essays to get into these schools, they also had like a mini camp before school started where all the kids of color that were going to these independent schools would go to a school for a weekend, stay overnight, even practice study tips, but also meet other kids of color. And
Hmm.
then once or twice a year, they would have like a gathering. They even started having conferences,
Yeah, yeah,
particularly like after the LA uprising and that era's version of DIE or DEI and oh, what's this culture thing about?
yeah.
The Alliance was like also supporting and holding us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I believe if it's the same alliance that I remember when my children were trying to, go to different schools, we're like, okay, this. And I remember going somewhere in LA, sitting in an office, and we did something. But my kids went to public school. They made it through. There, I got two graduates. I got two more in school. Trying to get their degrees, get their education. And so
Right.
I think that's what it's all about. You try to,
Yeah.
in one of my Black Studies courses, and we'll talk about that in a second. One of the professors was saying, "Look, you always want to. The goal is for the parents to make their children be a little bit more better than them." And so, that was my foundation, making sure that my kids were just a little bit better, give them the support that they need, some of the things that they need, so that when they become adults, they can kind of move along what he called the conveyor belt of life, and they would be, kind of well prepared. So, shout out to those resources that families take
Yes.
advantage of
Yeah.
to make sure that we're, doing what we need to do. So Chadwick School.
Yeah. So again, rigor, whether I want to use that word or not, but a lot of homework, a lot of homework. But also a lot of extracurriculars. So we always did visual and performing arts. I danced there, like I as PE, but also we performed. I was in plays and musicals, and so it felt very well rounded. We also had to do outdoor education trips that I didn't love. Because they were not just like exposing us to nature, they were very much so like, we're gonna rock climb and not exactly teach you,
Right.
because they were trying to like grow our like self-reliance and also our like lean on each other. But I was a 12-year-old from the hood and I had LA gears. I did not have proper rock climbing shoes.
Tell him. I mean, you could have
Because
probably
I
sea
afford
walked up the.
REI.
Yeah, you could have sea walked up the hill a little bit.
So I'm making up with nature now.
Good.
But they definitely were like throwing us out there, and we would be out there like we would be sleeping outside, like not a tent, like outside, Joshua
Outside.
Tree, Zion National Forest in
Oh yeah,
Utah,
yeah.
backpacking. So it was a lot
It's
of
different.
experiences,
Yeah.
bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs.
Now, do you think those experiences help mold who you are today?
Yeah, I think but as an adolescent in the 90s going through it and
Yeah.
without all the resources and the language that we have now, it was, adolescence is just adolescence anyway. But I'm also grateful for that time. Like I started writing creatively at Normandy. Shout out to Miss Parker and Miss Prescott. I remember fondly writing in their classes, but I really grew it even more at Chadwick. And I
Mm.
was writing poetry kind of like to cope and to express myself and not just being an adolescent, but also being a Black girl. And again, the 90s in LA on fire
Hmm.
and the class differences that I'm dealing with at my school, I definitely was writing those, black, black, black type
I'm black and be
poems,
black, black.
uh, and
Yeah.
reading it on the hills of
Yeah.
Palos Verdes.
Absolutely.
Um, but I am grateful for just the various experiences that I had at a young age, that I think just provided me this broader worldview.
So it sounds like, without asking, and I'm trying to use some context clues here. So the Chattanooga School was a
Oh,
multi grade kind of educational
they were they
setup.
were K-12,
Okay.
and so some of my classmates had gone there from kindergarten. I went from 7th to 12th grade, predominantly white and Asian, but definitely some Black and Latinx folks. And we actually, at the time I was there, and this is what I kind of continued to do throughout the various spaces where I went that weren't predominantly Black. We started the BSU, the Black Student Union, um, when I was at Chadwick.
Got you. Yeah. Sometimes those things have to be birthed out of,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it's like, hey, it's
Right.
about five of us here out of 200. We need to band together. We need to do something
And
to.
our parents actually had their own organization before the students had it. And
Mm,
so the African American Friends of Chadwick or something, then they
okay.
met monthly and we carpooled, and they had meetings, and they strategized about socially, educationally for us.
Hmm.
And so that was also dope to kind of have that parent model.
Super dope. Shout out to the Chadwick School. Man. Okay. Now we get into the meat and potatoes because I know NCS had a wonderful, like I said, we talked about the foundation. We talked about Chadwick having the resources and, you being exposed to different, things. And so, shout out to Chadwick, shout out to NCS. Now let's talk about, because you decided to leave Chadwick and then go over down south to the dirty, right? So it says here you earned degrees from Spelman, UCLA, and UC Berkeley, right? Now, you are, and Darren sent me some information. I'll call him El Presidente. Darren sent me some information here. He was like, LeConte is one of 4 former NCS students to attend and graduate from Spelman as a Spelmanite. Is that what you guys? Okay. So he was like Katrina Singletary, Latanya Hadnot Prelude, LeConte Dill, and Aaron Prelude. So shout out to y'all going to Spelman. Now, what drew
Shout out
you?
to El Presidente for digging in those archives.
Man, this dude right here, he just got time to be like, I'm like, man, I'm like, thank you, dude, because, but anyway, yeah, shout out to Darren. How did you make up your mind? So you leaving Chadwick and you go to a HBCU. What was the thought process between leaving, I guess in a sense you could call it a PWI, right? And then going over to the HBU kind of situation.
So I wanted to go to Spelman since I was like 4. This is, you can't really see. Well, that's little me, but I actually have on a Spelman shirt that you can't see that clearly. But my dad had gone to Atlanta for a business trip and became aware of Spelman, and there's this historically Black college and one for women and Black excellence and um, women, supporting women and women as leaders and learners. And so, and then in LA, just growing up also around the time, the iconography of HBCUs. So when we saw this, not just LA, but also like popular culture and the media.
Yeah.
So, Martin wearing HBCU shirts, of course, the Cosby Show, the different world, school days. And so having all of that, so like I already knew about it. And then you have on these TV shows and these movies, and you have these celebrities, even if they didn't go to the school, Biggie Smalls rocking a Morehouse shirt. So you had these celebrities, whether they went to school or not, rocking these schools, rocking, the school clothes. But also at the time, Janetta Cole, Dr. Janetta B. Cole was the president of Spelman from the late 80s to the mid 90s and raised a lot of money for the college. And she was always in Ebony and Jet and Essence. And so I was collecting those magazine articles and just learning about like, wow, the faculty, the students, like Black Girl Magic before the
Yeah.
name, but then also learning about like the history
Yeah.
of freedom fighters and feminists, and I mean a school built for newly freed and people who were enslaved, who were newly freed and were learning and trying to learn.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to go. And then after being at this kind of PWI middle school and high school, I definitely wanted a Black immersive experience. So
Yeah,
I
different
was
experience.
in Atlanta in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Hot Atlanta,
Hot
fat
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Freak me.
I was, yes.
wait. Okay, so I never.
I was at the end, the tail end of Freaknik. Yeah.
Okay. What was it as
rather.
bad as they say it was?
Yeah. I mean, it started out in the 80s,
Yeah.
by the DC Metro Club, a spring break for folks that couldn't go home for spring break. It started out as a gathering and then just grew and grew and grew.
Just grew.
And just, yeah, took
Just
off.
grew.
But Atlanta, LaFace Records, and
Yes.
I remember when I went on the Black College tour, like LA folks going to HBCUs. I remember some of the kids on our tour were like, "Can we leave our tape at LaFace?" Like you're like, no, we're gonna be on campus. Like
Yeah, yeah, we ain't got time for
maybe
that. You here?
bring your
You
tape
here
if you
for?
want, but
Yeah, you here to see Spelman,
in Morehouse, yeah.
not to see, not to see LaFace, not to see Babyface.
But that was just that era, like Atlanta. I mean, even before that, but like just this Black Mecca, and yeah, my time there was definitely during part of that.
What was one of the things that you remember best about your experience? Something like like a small story, something
At
that you
Spelman,
remember that kind of helped shape you as you were there, earning your undergrad degree.
lifelong friends, best friends, people I can still call on, people that even if I wasn't that close with them, Spelman, you say you're a Spelmanite, and no matter where you are in the world, just that connection, no matter if it's like someone who's 50 years older than me and somebody who's there now, just that understanding, that like sisterhood, sister is a verb, to
Yeah,
quote Tony K. Bambara, that it's a real practice thing. So I mean, I probably have a zillion memories, but I think it's more of like this practice, this feeling, this understanding, this knowing that carries me throughout various situations, various settings.
yeah. No, that's super nice, man. I mean, I've always, it probably would have been cool for me to go to like an HBCU. I don't know which one, but I mean, now, again, my kids are in
Your
school and
kids
kind
are
of,
experiencing it.
yeah, it's like, okay. And I knew it was, large back then, because to your point about, the TV shows and TV shows and the movies and the music, they kind of talked about the HBCU experience. And so, I just kind of wish that I did, but, I was a little bit too, I was just trying to put myself through school. So, I didn't, right out of high school, I wasn't ready to go.
Yeah, yeah,
But and I had to get myself prepared to I had steps. So,
yeah.
but I'm sure I would have had a wonderful time. Now, was the bond with the Morehouse and the Clark Atlanta? Did you guys do you still have friends and relationships, or and I know you talked
Yeah,
about people, the Spelmanites,
yeah. So
that you can call on.
Spell House is definitely a thing. We have homecoming together. We have reunions together. We get a official Morehouse brother or sibling when we start freshman year. But we also have unofficial brothers and siblings, and then we can take classes at the different AUC schools too. So Morris Brown, also. And yeah, so we could take classes at the other schools so we can have like the single sex education experience, but also kind of have this bigger, broader university experience as
Got you.
co-ed.
Got you. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about where did when did you? I guess that would be the proper question. When did you decide your career path? When did that take place? And then I'm sure your time at Spelman was time well spent because hopefully that laid the foundation of where you wanted to go.
So like as a middle schooler at Chadwick, I remember wanting to like support kids, younger people. And so I was thinking, okay, doctor, pediatrician, or teacher. And Black folks' eyes light up when you say you're going to be a doctor. So I kind of was going that, like, even as a middle schooler, high schooler, like, even doing internships and volunteering. So I was definitely on that pre med track. Was pre med at the beginning, first 2 years of Spelman. And yeah, that really wasn't
It
my
wasn't
jam.
you.
Or for not for my report card.
Yeah.
But the good thing of being in Atlanta, like the public health mecca,
Yeah.
where the CDC is or was, I don't know, depending on where our government is taking us. But it was the public health mecca, having the Centers for Disease Control there. Emory has a really vibrant, thriving school of public health. People were always on campus recruiting for internships and telling us about the various careers. So I realized I still want to work in like health, and health is bigger than just medicine. And in public health, which is my graduate degrees, we talk about the community being our patient, not just like individual patients. And I
Sure.
love that. Like I became a sociology major, really interested in groups and how groups interact. And so thinking about the community as my patient, and not just one singular patient, really resonated with me. And again, being in Atlanta, I knew like, oh, epidemiology and biostatistics and public or health is these broader things, and health is connected to your neighborhood and your family, your church, how you play and how you pray. And so I was clear. And so I went to UCLA right after Spelman was because I was clear, like I had done internships. I was clear about that. And I think that throughout my adulthood, I feel like I am also open or have been open to like evolving. And so while I do have these two graduate degrees and various work experiences, I'm in the Black Studies department now. And that's not a departure. I was always a Black feminist from before Spelman. And so I was always kind of looking at like the fullness of career possibilities, and even my art, like my poetry is part of my research.
Got you.
And so that thankfully did never left me.
Man, that's so. I mean, I wish I had some time to unpack that because what you just said. That's an awful lot right there. Because
Yes.
you getting degrees. You're not just sitting back and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to school. And after school, nah. You had your pathway. You figured out your perspective in what you wanted to do, which is super super nice. And you have interwoven everything that you're about into what you're doing right now. So you come back home, UCLA,
Yeah.
man. All right, now, because you already got your stuff out the way for your undergrad. Now, I mean, right now you're kind of focused. You got that what Dave Ramsey calls gazelle intensity. It's like, okay, I'm working on this pathway right here, public health. Now, did you party a little bit too while you were at UCLA?
Oh,
Or
I definitely am into work hard, play harder.
okay. Shout out.
It was like being back in LA and just like reconnecting
Yeah.
and also learning the city. The LA had changed in the
Oh,
4 years that I
big
was
time.
gone.
Yeah.
Also, Westwood is and West LA is very different than South Central. And then thankfully, but also leaving this HBCU experience and being back at a PWI and remembering, okay, this is how you navigate that. We started again a Black Students of Color for Public Health Club organization when I was at UCLA, and so it was good, but also a master's program is 2 years, so it was kind of a quick 2 years,
Yeah.
and I left right after that again. And so I moved to the Bay Area right after that.
Right after. He was like, all
Yeah,
right, I'm walking across the streets. I'm next day
quite literally.
I'm going to UC Berkeley.
Well,
Okay,
I
so
worked, I didn't go straight to Berkeley because I definitely, after being in school since preschool
yeah.
to Normandy to Chadwick to Spelman to UCLA, I was like, whew, okay.
I need a little break.
My brain hurts.
Yeah.
I want a full-time job, not just an internship. I want some experience leading or managing or and then also I want, yeah, no homework. I want to go to happy hour. I want
You
and
just
so
want to be a
yeah,
regular person without all the
not just a
education.
student. And just get some like life experience. I was in the Bay Area, so definitely like my social justice activism legs were definitely growing and nurtured in the bubble, the belly,
Yeah.
and did a lot of community work, nonprofit community-based organizations, a lot of youth organizing in the Bay, and then was actually also president of the Spelman Alumni chapter in the Bay.
Okay. Look
So
at you.
yeah, so that was fun. Also, it connected me intergenerationally again. We also raised money for scholarships for incoming students, and kind of put me in this leadership capacity, but also with like a collective team. So
Yeah.
we had through parties. People
You
used to
gotta
call me
have. I mean, because
people socialite in the Bay, but I'm not so much. I'm a homebody these days.
yeah, you got to know how to read the room. You got to know how to navigate those situations, have meaningful conversations. You can't always just, go. Sometimes you got to kind of let your hair down and just kind
Oh,
of have some
definitely,
fun and
definitely.
experience, like you said, experience life, right? Now, here's a question, and you kind of talked about was there anything that kind of helped you stay focused because you're doing all the stuff, right? You're doing working with the community, moving up to the Bay, taking some time off. Doing was there something that kind of helped you remain focused during this whole time as you kind of as you're working your way, matriculating through, all the colleges, you went through Chadwick. What kind of helped you remain focused during that journey?
Family, faith, creative writing, therapy. My last year in the Bay, so I did end up going to Berkeley and getting my doctorate. My last year of my doctorate was my last year in the Bay because again, after I finished these things, and I'm like, okay, on to the next city. I started meditating my last year in the Bay. I actually didn't want to do it. I was like, I don't do that. That's for hippies. Even though I was with the hippies in the Bay, but I
Right.
started meditating, and that has been a consistent practice since then. I'm certified now as a mindfulness instructor. I teach it and facilitate it at Michigan State and in the community and with my family. And yeah, I started that my last year. So definitely different kind of like healing practices, coping, wellness practices.
Yeah. Okay. See, man. Okay. This is a good conversation right here. Okay. Good. Okay. So let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a fun question. So the Calm app is. Do you recommend the Calm app?
I definitely have used the Calm app, especially I feel like folks that are early in meditation. I remember again, I was like anti, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll dip my toe in, but I like need to go to a sit or a class, and then I like had all the apps on my phone because I feel like I needed a guide, and so I definitely Calm. I forget all the names. I think it was something called Butterfly or Budafly. But I used to. It was an era, maybe like 10 years ago, where I had all the apps. So those are helpful. And then there were some apps that are like run by Black folks, and it's also good to hear like a Black or person of color voice
Yeah.
when you're trying to
Okay.
yeah do well.
Okay, so let me ask you real quick, so, because you kind of struck a nerve in a good way. Meditation. Give me and for our viewers as well. Let me know in the comments if you've used some kind of meditative practices, either using assets or apps like the Calm app. I think another one, Insight Timer, I believe.
Yep, yep, yep.
So if you're watching, I think we got about 10, 11, 15 of y'all watching right now. Drop some of your favorite, apps or something that you use. But actually, could you give us a couple of benefits for folks to meditate and kind of help them, you know, uh, be calm and kind of reflect on, some of the things that they do throughout the day. If they're having a
Yep.
bad time, just some of the kind of benefits of meditation and how we could use it every day.
Sure. So it's evening time wherever or from where most of us are tuning in, right? And so it's actually can be a great practice to do like a body scan when you're about to go to bed. It might actually help you go to bed. So just kind of thinking about like work your way like from the toes to the head and just taking deep breaths. You might even count down. And I've often found when you do that, even if you aren't tired or you might still be wound up, once you start doing that, I found myself like losing count midway and maybe falling asleep. And I'm like, I just was on my knees. So I call that a body scan, or people call that a body scan. So kind of meditating, and that's just helping you kind of like reset at night. Sometimes folks, meditate or breathe in the morning, and it doesn't have to. Sometimes you feel like, oh, do I need to be on my pillow or my mat? You could still be in the bed laying down. You could be in the shower. You can meditate driving. So don't close your eyes. You can do a walking or eyes wide open meditation. It doesn't have to be eyes closed and
Yeah,
like hands in a certain position.
yeah,
It's just taking a beat, even just like three deep breaths. That's what they
yeah,
say on PBS, Daniel Tiger, right? Take a deep breath and count to four. So I guess four deep breaths. And I think about like not beating yourself up like it has to look this way. And I practice mindfulness, not just meditation. So it's not like I have to totally clear my mind. because life is life in, and there's all kind of things. And so if your mind is wandering, that's okay. Like, make peace with that wandering and invite some breaths and some moments of stillness.
Mm,
Um, you can, have soft music. You can have loud African drums, and even, other types of music. So
yeah.
whatever helps you take a moment, and you can do it collectively, right? Like, there's probably some people who are tuning in that I've meditated with in community.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be solo.
Yeah, no, I have a friend. She practices breath work, and
Yep.
so I know she did some activities with another mutual friend for her birthday, and my wife came home. She's like, "Man, oh, worked up." So I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah," So yeah, I can definitely understand the benefits of mindfulness, meditating, and even taking it personally. In my class as a part of my practice
Oh,
within my
definitely.
community circle. It's like, hey, let's just take a time because kids, kids they struggle with some things, and it's like whatever, however you're feeling. If you're not feeling too hot, you can always take some time to just take some deep
Yep.
breaths, right? Just to kind of recenter. And so I love the suggestions that you just gave for adults because we
Yep.
we need some time to ourselves as well to kind of reflect and kind of calm ourselves down. If it's before we go to sleep or on our way to work, whatever the case might be, just to kind of help us get ready. So I appreciate you dropping some of those gems
Yeah, and
about
shout out to younger generations now. Like, my undergrad college students are requesting, like, can we breathe in class?
yeah,
Can we take a moment? High school students doing meditation. My daughter asking for us to make a calming corner in her room. So shout out to Gen Z, Gen Alpha, who are showing us the way.
absolutely. And then we have the comment from one of your friends. I talk to myself and practice pausing and breathing. I use the Calm app sometimes when I'm overexerted and need assistance. My company and many others provide premium access. So check your benefits, which is true. And I need to straighten that. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I think I have the Calm app, and I think they've been billing me. But as a teacher, I get it free. So I need to fix that. So I
Yes.
won't be taking my money and I can get it for free. Okay, let's pivot a little bit. So super, super dope. Now, today, right now, in the state of Michigan, how did you get to Michigan? That's what I want to know. How does a Cali girl get from you 64th in Normandy, NCS? How do you go all the way to Michigan State to East Lansing
Shout out
University?
to 93rd Street and 119th Street too. Um, Yeah, so I'm here because of the Department of African American and African Studies that started a year before I came,
Okay.
um, led by the incomparable Dr. Ruth Nicole Brown, who might still be tuning in. It was created and it is growing as a Black feminist department. We focus on Black feminisms, Black genders, and Black sexualities, the fullness of Black people. And again, that was all things I've been for, committed to my whole
Okay.
life.
Okay.
Right, that's kind of been the theme. And so to be in an academic and to be in higher ed, to be in a higher ed, a university department that was touting every like how I've been in the various spaces
Yeah.
that I've been in, from Normandy, from the PWI spaces, from the nonprofits, and focusing, championing Black feminisms and Black girlhood studies. I was like, this is this is what I journal about. This is like on the vision board. And so Michigan wasn't necessarily on the vision board, but this type of work in the kind of department that it
Sure.
was growing. And I'm also in a department in a college that recognizes the arts as scholarship. So this
Yeah.
poet self, this dancer self that I've also always been, is considered valid. And not every, unless you're in an art department, or an English department, and sometimes not even then, um, sees that as valid and sees that as enough. So just the where I was career wise, and even my family, like, I'm a city girl.
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of big cities around the country, but I think just the stage that my husband and I and my daughter are in, this Midwest living is not too bad, right? Like cost of living, no traffic. I know you were beating LA traffic to even start this podcast. There's no traffic. The peace and quiet, which I used to actually not like peace and quiet. Again, I'm an LA girl. Like, give me a siren, give me a, give me
Man,
a K day
I
bumping. Um,
listen. I'm gonna send you some sirens because you know it's like daily and nightly, right? It's
but
like all the
now
time.
I'm like, I like the peace and quiet. I like the
Shout out
I'm
to the
even
peace
getting
and
used to
quiet.
like the lack of lights.
Yeah,
Like, that used to creep me out when I was younger. Like,
yeah.
even
So
like going to the IE, that would be like, this is too scary and dark
yeah,
and quiet. But
so
now, so it's been a good look.
yeah. So real talk. You're talking about sirens. My wife always kids. I think someone either told her or she read something. She was like, "Yeah, because every time you hear a siren, it takes they say it takes years off your life." So she's like, "Can
Oh
these
wow.
sirens be quiet?" It's like quiet down because we're always I work in the inner city. I work in a thriving community in urban Los Angeles. There isn't I mean, just about every day I might hear a fire truck, might hear, some kind of siren after school. And then, if I'm at home on my way, I might see or hear, right? And then we live near a hospital. So
Yeah.
it's like, you going
Yeah.
they like to come right down our street to get to Centinela. So we're always hearing. So I understand definitely about the peace and quiet. I want to go back to something that you said earlier for our viewers, and then I want to kind of end up landing with teaching Black studies at Michigan State. So, can you, for our viewers who are out there watching who might have no idea what Black feminism is, briefly, in short, kind of explain what Black feminism, being a Black feminist, is all about, especially in today's society. See, hold on. If you listen
I
closely,
do hear a siren. Is that I called it? Black feminisms with an S is how we use it in my department. Is just kind of thinking about there's no one way to be a Black feminist. Black feminisms think about, again, all of us. So if the Combahee River Collective, pause for them, in 1977 wrote, Black women were free, then all of us would be free. So thinking about equity, even before DEI, thinking about the fullness of humanity, thinking about folks showing up in all of their ways, not just respectability politics, not just, only Black people in the US, thinking about calling out the oppressions of racism, of heteropatriarchy, of sexism, of class divisions, of economic oppression, of xenophobia. Black feminists, before even folks that might not call themselves Black feminists, but they were doing the practice of this work, has been before it was in books, right? Before it was at conferences, before it was in the university. We know these practices from the kitchen table, from the front porch, from the playground, from the church house, from the fields,
from all the
from the
places.
villages. Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yep.
That's good. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay. So today, you're an associate professor, director of graduate studies at Michigan State. What does that role mean to you?
So I'm able to be a scholar and an artist and not separate those. I'm able to be a leader in academia, and recognize that, like, that my titles, even though sometimes I like don't want to care about the titles, but it's important as a Black woman, and a Black woman from the hood, and a Black woman that went to HBCU, like all those things. It's important to claim, like, no, I'm an associate professor, I'm an associate chair, I'm the director of this, because I am literally at tables and knocking down tables that weren't built for us.
Yeah.
I'm also refusing tables, and going to sit by the river, and like, is that the classroom? Is that where the meeting is? And trying to shake up some things, disrupt some things, even in academia. Um, and our students remind us that there are different ways of learning and different ways of being together.
Hmm.
So the classroom is a very important space for me. It's one of my activist spaces, and I feel like I have all different kinds of classrooms. Like it might be the dance studio, it might be the meditation room, it might be taking a field trip to the museum. It might be in my office. It might be at the coffee shop. So just thinking again outside of those boxes that I was trying to move out of after the goody two shoeness,
Right, right.
of that, we can move there together as learners.
Super, super awesome. Okay, so and we were talking before we went live today. So, what is one of the classes that you teach right now to undergrad students?
I teach Black girlhood studies. I teach pedagogies of protest. I teach Black feminisms. I'm actually teaching a tap dance history class right
Okay,
now. I've been tapping since Chadwick,
okay.
and I tap now weekly. And I'm not teaching choreography. I'm teaching more history. I mean, I might get my students towards the end of the semester doing
Mm,
a little shuffle step, but teaching. I mean, tap is a Black dance, a Black American dance form,
mhm.
and so the students are learning that.
Man, okay, so I'm here in the studio, and I brought some of my books from home because I just needed some space. I needed to get rid of some books on my shelf. So your boy, for those of you who are viewing, I'm also a Black Studies student, class of 1997, Cal State University, Black Studies, right? And so I was just kidding with Dr. Dill about the use of this particular book right here. This is kind of like a relic right here. It's called The Introduction to Black Studies by Dr. Karanga. Wonderful, wonderful book, and it helped me gain a bigger and better insight of the Black community at large. Beginning way before slavery, right? Because America would have you to believe, hey, yeah, and 1619 and blah blah blah. I was like, no, 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 no. Let's take it a little bit back. Let's go back to Timbuktu and the pharaohs and all that kind of good stuff. Do you think? I'm trying to gather my thoughts here for a wonderful question. If you could teach another kind of course to the students in your department, something that you could create, something that you're not already teaching, what kind of class would you want to, create to teach, to educate the young minds at Michigan State? It could be a Black Studies course. It could be, you have a whole bunch of different genres. So, if you had your
Well,
pick of the litter.
I was able to teach my dream course at Michigan State 2 years ago. Shout out again to our chair, Ruth Nicole Brown, because she saw me doing this work already. I had created a course 9 years ago when I was living in New York, and she invited me to bring it to Michigan State. So, Centering Wellness, I think, is one of my dream courses that I created. I've published about how I've taught that, and now other people are also teaching at Michigan State. So, literally, students are meditating in class, are reading poetry about, again, like you talked about, the trauma and the drama, because that's part of the healing journey, but also reading poetry and fiction and memoirs where Black folks were talking about their wellness practices. They might not have called it that, like
Right.
in Toni Morrison's Beloved and For Color Girls and Tazaki Shange. They might not have always named it as wellness, but if you read literally the recipes, Tony Capen Barr's The Salt Eaters, they were articulating steps beautifully and sometimes in a hard way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Their journey towards healing. So I'm literally created a class to walk students through literature. I'm just going to grab a book that's closest to me. I didn't teach this yet, but it's new. My homegirl Dr. Nadia Alexis, her book, The Beyond the Watershed. She's a poet, a scholar, and a photographer. That book just came out, and so in the future, I might teach that. I definitely teach the homies books. I look forward, very prideful plug, to teach my books. I have a book coming out next month called Soul Survivors.
Man, come on. Come on. Come on.
And yeah, so shout
What
out.
what is your book about?
My book is a book of poetry that's informed by my research over the last 15, 20 years with Black girls around the country. So it's using poetry very much so, leaning on Gwendolyn Brooks and how she used poetry to tell about young people growing up in Chicago. I'm doing that and thinking about East Oakland, Southwest Atlanta, and East Flatbush, Brooklyn. Again, Soul Survivors. Folks who follow me on the socials or my website will be hearing much more about that. We are in
Man, listen.
Aquarius season. I'm an Aquarian. So the next couple of weeks, the pop out is on. So just stay tuned. And actually, you can pre order the book, Soul Survivors, LeConte Dill. We can put things in the chat.
You know what? If you can't, drop that in the chat if you can. You should be able to.
I know some of my folks are on the call. Do I have a chat?
Or let me see. Hold on.
But my folks might hook me up in the chat because I know folks have already pre-ordered it. The folks
Okay.
in the room.
What's the name of the book again?
Soul Survivors.
Okay, let me see if I can find something on the web. Okay. Okay. Counterpath Press.
Yes.
Oh, see.
MP and Counterpath, co-published by those
Got
presses.
you. Hold on right here. Let me see.
Okay. Look it up.
See,
look it up in the comments.
Man, I got you. Let me see
And
if I
it's
can
my
put
debut,
this.
so we definitely are gonna show up and show out for this.
We're gonna have to blow up the spot. Let me see if I can share this real quick on screen here. Let me grab my shared screen to see if it's gonna work. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Come on. Work for me. There we go. Okay, let me add you here in this little bubble. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so there you are. All right, so is that you? Let me see if I can blow it up just a tad. Oh, hold on, let me come back over here. Boom. Come on, you guys, what you doing over here? Work with me. All right, there we go. Okay, so there we go. Soul Survivors, LeConte Dill. Man, okay. That's what's up. Okay, sign me up. Matter of fact, we need to see if we can get an autographed copy somehow, some way, man. We keep on making funky hits every single day. Yes, sir. NCS alum doing her thing, man. Soul Survivors, LeConte Dill. When is it going to drop again?
Next month. So next month is next week. Man. Pre-orders. People are already ordering. I thank you for the support. Shout out to Marcus Davis, Pasadena's own, Rialto's own, the homie who lives in Lansing now, who is supporting me with marketing and branding and book trailers and film. Yeah.
There we go. Look at it right there. Oh, yeah. Okay, dear. So I'll have to pass this on to El Presidente so he can blow this up. Now, when you come back out here to LA, you're going to have to do some kind of book signing or something.
I would love to. That's definitely on probably the summer, maybe July-ish.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's super dope. I'm just looking over. You got the Waffle House.
Yeah, shout out to Shaniqua Gay. That's her art on the cover. She's from Atlanta and also reps her city in her artwork. And so we definitely bonded about like repping for Black girls, repping for the hoods that we're from. Yeah. And so I'm happy to have her art on my
Man, no, I'm just looking at the imagery of it all. I mean, like, the picture, pouring, the Kool-Aid picture pouring from one girl or one lady to a girl man, it's just super, super nice, man. Now, we're going to have to definitely, when you come out this way, Dr. Dill.
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh man, that's super, super nice. All right. So here, let's wrap up. I have a few more questions and then we're gonna be done because I know it's kind of late for you. It's kind of late for me.
For rocking with us on this
journey. Hey, all the people who are here in the chat rocking with us. Dr. Dill is rocking her South Central shirt. She is from the hood. She's letting y'all know she's representing South Central. So here, a couple of fast rounds of what I call rapid fire questions, and then we'll give you an opportunity to close up, give your final remarks. So, favorite NCS memory in one sentence?
Oh, it's too many. Field trips.
Field trips. Okay.
Field trips, Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Pantages Theater, field trips.
Okay. Favorite NCS event? Bonaventure Luncheon or The Wiz?
The Wiz.
Okay. One NCS teacher or staff member you'll never forget. Just one now.
Mrs. Prescott.
Ah, yes. I told you to shout out to Miss Prescott. Describe your NCS class, and you can choose.
Shout out to Mrs. Quick as well. Sorry.
Absolutely. Shout out to Quick. Describe your NCS class in one word.
The best, class of 90.
Okay. All right. If NCS was a movie, what would the title be?
Good in the Hood.
Good in the Hood. That might, hey, if you decide to write another book, that could be the title of your next work. I'm just saying. Okay. So again, Dr. Dill, LeConte, I appreciate you hopping on, right? We know you got weather situation over there. I appreciate you, hanging out with us. You guys who are over here in the chat supporting Dr. Dill, we appreciate you guys, fam, friends, all that kind of wonderful stuff. We support you, and we appreciate you hopping on tonight. Anything you want to say to the NCS alumni community, and then we'll talk about how people can connect with you as well.
NCS alumni, I love you. Let's stay popping, stay connected in person, in real life, but also the various social media channels that we have, and reunions, whether they be the big ones or informal meetups. Keep our chats popping. It's definitely a lifelong family, and so thank those who tuned in. Shout out to my husband, who I think might be tuning in downstairs, who put baby girl to bed. Shout out to my daughter Worthy, and definitely my friends and family and sorors and Spelmanites and AAAS squad that might be tuning in or might be watching later.
Absolutely. And then I believe, and please, I'm hoping I'm getting this correct. You are a member of the, just shout out your sorority real quick. So I did have a picture. There you go. Okay, you're a Delta.
Delta Sigma Theta.
Absolutely.
Sorority Incorporated.
Yeah, Darren threw me some pictures, and I was supposed to put them up on the thing, but my phone died halfway during the interview, so I was in a rush to make sure that we started close to 6 o'clock as we could, because I know there's a big time difference, and so but yeah, definitely I really appreciate you,
Archivist El Presidente, for
man. This dude right here, he got more time than Father Time himself. I'm like, goodness gracious. Okay, so. Man, I appreciate you. Do me a favor. Just hang out in the green room, and I'm going to close up the show, and then we're going to chat afterward. Oh, you know what? How can people connect with you?
Sure. So website, LeConteDill.com, LeContedill.com. On IG, Doc Dill Tatum, DOCDILLTAUGHTEM. Facebook under my name, LeConte Dill. Look for Soul Survivors. Look for more heat coming your way. Creativity. Yeah.
Man, super awesome to have you here. I really appreciate it. And, continue to make your family proud, because I know that they're proud of you. Continue to make all of the connections, resources, HBCUs, colleges, all your clubs, man, just continue to represent. And I love what you're doing, man, because, deep down, way back in the day, I kind of wanted to be a professor, what I'm saying? Just doing the professorial thing. It would have been fun. I would have had some fun up on the college campus. But I am where I am. I'm not going to leave elementary school. I'm going to stick it right here, but I appreciate what you do to enlighten those folks on the campuses of higher education. So appreciate you. So hang tight in the
Thank
green
you for
room.
inviting me, and thank you for being a gracious host.
Oh,
And this
thank you.
was a fun time.
Thank you. Thank you. So sit tight for me. Hey guys, so we had a wonderful, wonderful interview, man. LeConte Dill, Dr. Dill, all the letters. She went to all the schools. We had fun tonight, just very informational, very educational. And I'm super, super excited at the book, that's coming out. Normally, I'm not like a big reader unless I have to if I'm taking a course, but this will be a book that I'm gonna purchase. And, if she comes out here in the book tour, I'm sure El Presidente is gonna make sure that we know about it so we can go out and support our NCS alum as she's doing what, few of us have done with the NCS community, which is actually, pen something nice in form of a book. So, anxious to see some of her experiences or read about some of her experiences. And so hopefully you'll partner with us. And again, if she comes out here for a book signing tour, your boy is going to be in the building. So again, thank you, Dr. Dill, for being here, being present, and sharing with us all the goodness about mindfulness, meditation, being a Black feminist, the Chadwick School, NCS, the Wiz, and I can go on and on. So again, thank you very much. And for those of you who are watching, we appreciate you hanging out in the chat. And if you want to, before we leave, go ahead. Go ahead. You've dropped some comments. You can go ahead and like the video. Leave some comments. And the best thing you can do, especially if you want to be connected to the NCS community, you can go ahead and subscribe to the NCS Alumni YouTube channel. Other than that, I am Mr. Riley. I'm coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side, and at the end of February, we will have another wonderful alumni guest. So you guys take care, be safe, stay warm, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right, you guys, peace out. If I can find my closing video, where's my closing? Oh, here it is, right here. All right, see you guys later.